And you said, what, it's convoluted sword game? Was that what it was?
I didn't say it was a convoluted sword game. I said it was Sword of Convallaria.
See, it sounds...
Convallaria.
See, it sounds like convoluted sword game to me.
Well, it's a JRPG-based game. The plot is convoluted.
I guess so. Klayton, so that's a lot of demos, but did you have ones that you actually cared about talking about today?
There's actually quite a few that I'm interested in talking about.
Okay.
The first one is actually a second look at a game. So I covered this game last Next Fest, which I think was in November of last year.
Mm-hmm.
It was late last year with the last Next Fest. And it was the last Next Fest of 2023. And this game is called Folklands. It is a relaxing settlement builder with simulated citizens. It's not out yet. On the Steam page, it says it's coming soon. And the developer is Bromantic Games.
Nice.
I'm on an indie dev Discord server, and right? I'm on an indie dev Discord server, and one of the devs is on there. So I've given that dev feedback before, based on my last experience and my current experience.
Mm.
But when I look at my Steam page for this, and the demo is still available right now as we're recording this, and I believe they said they're going to keep the demo up. So if you're interested in checking it out yourselves, it says, is this game relevant to you? On my Steam page, it says it's like Prison Architect, and I was terrible at that game.
Right.
What? That was not that bad of a game.
I'm not big on settlement builder games. These kind of games are not my bread and butter. I always have a difficult time. That's why I don't play like Civ. I don't play any other thing that's like it.
I have a love-hate relationship with colony and settlement building games.
Yeah.
So I fully understand this.
Yeah, but my approach to this game and the way they presented their game, especially during the demo, is I look at it this way, and this is just my perspective. If you're looking to get into a colony settlement type builder game like that, Folklands is a great way to start.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they do a little bit of hand holding, which is not bad, but it feels really easy to get into. And I don't feel overwhelmed by the mechanics, and after 5-10 minutes, like, all right, good luck for the rest of your adventure, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of the bugs that I encountered in the first playthrough, I did not have the second time around. I've had people that get stuck by the buildings. I had people who wouldn't do their jobs, things like that. This time that didn't happen. They fixed a lot of issues. I did have a problem though with my settlement catching on fire towards the end of my recording.
That's not a problem. That's a feature.
And for the life of me, don't know how that happened. But that wasn't a thing in the last time. That's something that they added. And it's very interesting, you know, which you'll understand as a settlement builder goes. But in that game, you know, on their Steam page, it says you can build up and manage a settlement and care for your folks in this relaxing settlement builder with simulated citizens. And it is kind of relaxing until the panic happens. So you're providing shelter, you're guaranteeing a steady supply of food for them, resources and products, and the map is pretty generous, and you can almost start anywhere you want on the map that you're in when you build the settlement. I didn't get too far into trading and diplomacy, but there is that mechanic in the game as well.
Okay.
And then, of course, the adversities of fires and stuff.
Yeah.
And also, it says on here, it's never the same game twice. So the worlds are generally procedurally generated.
Yeah, a lot of like colony games will be like that, where they're just kind of like, yeah, we're just gonna give you a seed. And, like, even how Minecraft is, it's like, here's a seed, here's your map, this is where all the resources are now scattered. Good luck.
Yeah.
I think I made the seed like Next Fest or Steam Next Fest 2024, something like that.
Okay.
But you build your settlement, you build the houses for them, you build the well, you build the market, homes for them, and you just sit back and watch them. And I don't know how other settlement builders are like this, but there's a good, decent zoom in and zoom out. Like, you can really zoom in and watch them work.
Yeah.
Sure.
You click on them for prompts and stuff.
Mm.
All in all, it's not a bad game. It's, you know, I don't know when it's coming out. It doesn't even say what year it's coming out. It just says coming soon.
Great.
Soon. Within the next century.
But it says single player, it says online PvP and LAN PvP, and cross-platform multiplayer. So
okay,
you can look forward to that for Folklands as well.
Sure. Did you find it interesting since this is like the one, I'm gonna guess this is like the one demo where you actually went back because you had played previously. Did you notice, was it interesting seeing the evolution of it?
It was. It very much was. The game feels much more polished within the last 3 to 4 months since last Next Fest with it. Like, even their loading screen was different for it. And when the loading screen happens, like sometimes some games will have like the text like World of Warcraft. When you're loading in a map, it says like, don't stand in a fire, or
don't jump off
something
stairs.
funny at the bottom.
Don't jump off stairs.
Don't jump off stairs. This game has that too, and I fed them a bunch of quotes in the Discord last time about it. I was like, I thought this would have been funny, or this, and I think one of the ones I mentioned actually got in there. I don't remember which one it is, but when I see it, I might recognize it.
Nice.
And the only reason why I played this game, and I don't know if I mentioned it before, is because the dev asked me if I would be interested in covering it again.
Nice.
Because they were putting it up again for this current Next Fest, and it definitely feels like a different game. Like, it's still the same relaxing settlement builder, and it really is relaxing.
Right up until the fires.
Up until the fires happened. And then it was I don't understand what happened, because I had a place for them to get water.
Yeah.
I think I had built the quote unquote fire department that you have in the game, and somebody was assigned to it. It's just they weren't putting out the fire. So I don't know if that was a bug, or if that was just them being like, it's a little cold here anyway, so we're just gonna let it burn.
Just need to warm up a little bit. Just let me toast by the fire.
All in all, I thought it was a fun game. If someone's on the fence about getting into a settlement builder because they think it's too overwhelming, because they see like games like, I don't know, Age of Empires I think might be one, or Civ games, any of the Civ games.
Yeah, Civ is a little different than a settlement builder anyways. So.
True. But like, I mean, the only Civ game I ever played was Beyond Earth.
Yeah, well,
I bought
Civ
that
is
game
more
just because I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah, Civ is more of a 4X than a city or a settlement builder anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't really have to deal with micromanagement in the same way for Civ that you do for like a settlement or colony game. Generally speaking, the colony games, you got to deal with individual people and their problems, and like the logistics of building a colony or city. Civ, you usually just have to be like, yes, I've got a city, and I just have to make sure that I tell them to build a granary once in a while.
Well, I guess more to this game would be more like, your city skylines, Planet Zoo, Project Frontier, Timberborn, things like that.
Sure.
My question is, does it have a story?
And I'm just like, I mean, I only played about 25 minutes of the demo. Usually my videos go almost 40 minutes, but my village caught on fire.
You can recover. You can recover.
Not financially.
I will never financially recover from this game.
That's fine. But
Star Citizen
it is on my wish
strikes
list.
again.
In conclusion to that game, I will say this game's on my wish list. I will more than likely probably buy the game. I know I'm not going to be great at the game, but I'll get better over time. I recognize that my village setup this time around was vastly different from my village setup the first time around.
Right.
So that was my second look at Folklands, and I'm actually interested to see where they go from here. Moving on to another game, though, how do you both feel about tactics-based games?
Not typically a fan personally, but I will admit that sometimes tactics-based games can be okay. Baldur's Gate, for instance, would fall into that category.
Right.
What about you, Nathan?
Oh, I like myself an XCOM of sorts once in a while, if it's that kind of a tactics game.
Nathan woke up and chose violence with that.
Yes, I did.
Game suggestion.
XCOM 2, baby.
Typically not personally my forte.
Yes.
Have either of you played like the Japanese style tactics? So like your Final Fantasy tactics, Advanced Wars.
No.
Like
well,
that.
Nathan doesn't do JRPGs, so no.
But even in tactics one, I really haven't. No.
Well, this one that I played is based off of Japanese tactics-based games, and it is called Sword of Convallaria. And I played the demo for that. Yeah, I didn't get super far into it, mostly just through the intro stuff, which was all that was covered in my video.
Right.
I wish I was able to cover more, but it's also Japanese voice acted.
Nice.
I don't know if they have an English
English
setting on there. I don't know if they have an English setting on there, but it is the captions are in English.
Well, it's out for me, or the voice
But
volumes
the
to get
voice acting
turned
is all
off.
in Japanese. Yeah, no, but the
Okay.
voice acting is all in Japanese. So
Yeah.
usually I will read out the text that I see. But since I realized it was Japanese voice acted, I didn't do any of the reading out loud. You know, so the viewer
Smart.
can just read it with their eyeballs and listen to the voice acting. Because I didn't want to take away from the voice acting.
I would have
I
turned.
enjoy games. You would have turned it off, I know. I
I
enjoy
would have
games that has
turned
voice acting in it.
I like voice acting in games. I do not like Japanese voice acting, and I will die on this hill, even with anime.
Well,
Fair.
maybe you'll play the game. Maybe you'll give it a shot. I don't know. It is on Steam page. It says it is a fantasy tactical RPG revitalizing the beloved Japanese turn-based and pixel art genre. You will collect and train a roster of mercenaries, customize your squad, and use your own strategy to save the nation. And you'll journey through a world of plot twists where every choice you make will reshape your destiny. So that tells me, just by observing that it has a lot of replayability. And if you've ever played like Fable-like games, where it's like the choices you make matter, like
Sure.
no two runs going to be the same. You could be benevolent in one run, you could be malicious in another run. You could be
Sure.
kind of in between.
Right.
I did look up the game a little bit. I don't know if they're going to have a cash shop or pay-to-win shop or anything like that, because their Steam page says free-to-play. There's going to be a free-to-play tactics-based game.
So
Is
it's probably
it
gonna be
pixel
micro
art, you
trade.
said?
It's only going to be a single-player game.
Oh. Huh.
Weird.
And
Maybe they're just doing
Yeah.
it for love.
okay.
Maybe. I mean, the publisher and the developer is XDs. I don't know much about them.
And you said what? It's convoluted sword game? Was that what it was?
I didn't say it was a convoluted sword game. I said it was Sword of
Convalence.
Convallaria.
See, it sounds.
Convallaria.
See, it sounds like convoluted sword game to me.
Well, it's a JRPG based game. The plot is convoluted.
I guess so. But
Go
but
look at Kingdom Hearts.
does it play a little bit like maybe like Fire Emblem?
Yeah,
was
I would
thinking
say you could
Disgaea.
put it up there with Fire Emblem in
Okay.
that style too. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
I've
probably
actually
like
played a couple of Fire Emblem titles.
Sure.
I have not.
Sure.
I'm thinking Disgaea from what I know of like tactical JRPGs.
This guy.
I have not played that, but I know
I
of
haven't.
it.
Yeah, I assume so. It's like kind of 2.5D, kind of isometric, grid based.
The more about this game is that it says it has a profound story. You're journeying through a
Oh,
place
God.
called Iria, I-R-I-A. It is a mineral-rich country whose magic resources have drawn unwanted attention from dangerous external factions.
As they
As
do.
tensions rise and riots break out, it is up to you as a mercenary leader to navigate complex situations while finding ways to save the fate of that country. And it has a choice-based narrative. So your decisions will shape how your town evolves. Now, I don't know if that means like you have a town that you build up. You know, like with some games where it's like, oh, you build, like some roguelites, you build up the area that you're in and then you go out on those missions.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if this game will be like that when they mention that you shape how your town evolves and influence the unfolding story.
Sure.
So you can build relationships and skills to your advantage
Mhm.
in this game. So
Relationships.
I think it'll be like a little bit like the Baldur's Gate-ish in a sense. You know, you make your choices for good or for ill.
Sure.
Yeah.
This I'm just looking at some of the screenshots right now, and this does look a lot like Fire Emblem, but with maybe a little bit more customization for like towns and you know, like actually going into towns, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that like when I don't even remember which Fire Emblem I played, but there were those sections like between battles where you would talk to other members of your team and you'd build relationships and get special skills and stuff like that you would use in the next battle and hope that your guys didn't die. So this looks kind of like that. But we haven't had a Fire Emblem game for a little bit. I think they did 3 Houses maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So filling a niche.
And I mean, free to play, like it's already on my wish list. I'm more than likely just gonna pick this game up too, because I really want to explore farther into the game and see what kind of choices I can make with it. Like, I want to get farther than obviously I did with the demo.
I am, however, seeing very large numbers over people's heads, and that always makes me concerned.
Great.
I don't know what it is, but I seem to have an aversion when games decide to throw out very, very large numbers for damage and hit points and stuff like that.
You would enjoy the latest cold take on Second Wind. Yeah, I was looking at the video you shared, Klayton. Probably not a game I personally would play. I'm not a huge pixel art or tactics person, so both of those are negs to me. Unless it was like very interesting in premise to me, I'd be like, eh.
I might stream it, but it's free to play, so it might be just an offline game for me. You know,
fair.
It's not like I thought it was very good, and it reminded me a lot. I only played very few Fire Emblem games, but I played so much when Final Fantasy Tactics came out, and I've been playing tactics-based games for a long time. Like, we're talking about like the console days. Games like Shining Force, I played, and that was Super NES. Shining Force is a really old game. Another game that I played, actually, since I like doing a lot of farming in games. I don't know if either of you know this, but I grind ad nauseum of resources. And I hoard them because, you know, you never know when you're going to need 10,000 lumber or 10,000 stone or all these flowers that you've been collecting for hours on end. There is a game called Isometria, which also has a planned release date of 2024, so sometime this year. And it is by publisher and developer Big Whoop Games.
Big Whoop.
And on their Steam page, it says, embark on an isometric odyssey, solo or with friends. Craft, explore, and conquer in a procedurally generated world. Face monsters, unearth treasures, and forge your destiny. I played this game as a Steam Next Best demo video. But I also streamed it very recently as well.
I think I caught you streaming some of it too.
I didn't get to play as much of it as I wanted to. I was having internet issues last night, but I did encounter one of the bosses, and I made terrible mistakes because I didn't think that's what was going to happen, and I accidentally summoned the boss.
Oops!
And it all just went downhill from there. But the game is very beautiful. It says it's relevant to me because I play Palworld and Valheim, but I don't think it's like Palworld at all.
No,
I think that's
isometric
a wrong
typically.
assumption for Steam to make. I would look at it as more like maybe a Valheim or a Terraria, you know, in that sense, but not like side-scrolling like Terraria. But the game is fun. I believe it's being developed by one person. That person is also very active on social media, the Big Whoop Games Twitter account, or X account, whatever you want to call it. And they're taking suggestions. You know, I've mentioned some things. The way you collect resources in that game, it feels like if your mouse cursor isn't actually touching it, you're not mining it, even though it looks like it might be. So there seems like a little bit of issues in that regards for Isometria. That was like the only real issue that I've encountered. I didn't think I counted any of the bugs. I encountered quite a bit of the creatures in the game. I did quite a bit of farming in the demo that I recorded. In the stream that I did much farther. I built a small little base for me, put up some walls, some protection, some doors, you know, so I can protect myself at night from the creatures, because the the torches that you place does not keep them away. It will keep them from spawning in that area, but they'll still run towards you from outside the area. So there is a level of danger.
You just put torches everywhere.
Cycle. I mean, you could, but it's better to build up your fortifications. The game has a day-night cycle, and night is where the danger happens. Yes, there's monsters during the day too, but they seem a bit more aggressive at night, which is
that's
lots.
Minecraft.
That's pretty standard fare for most games that have that kind of anything.
But the tent, bed, spawn point things that you can make, it doesn't let you sleep to wake up to the next day. I don't know if they're going to add that or not, and I don't think that is a negative for that. Like if the developer wants you to also explore the game at night, I can understand why you can't sleep.
You just got to rough it through the night then.
Yes.
Yeah. Just got.
I feel like it should be optional.
But if they, I don't know how the game will be in the full release. In the demo, you're decked out. You've got a sword, a short dagger, an axe, a pickaxe, a shovel, and a hammer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you've already got a bunch of tools. So you can start knocking stone, knocking wood, start building up stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
If the full release is the same way as well, I think that'll be great. Because then you're literally just dropping people in and be like, go on, have fun.
I would like to make a side note where I've played enough of these survival crafting games where all of them start with you going, I need you to pick up some stones and some sticks and fashion yourself a stone axe.
Yeah.
I would like to find an in-game reason for any of these games for you to know how to make any of the things that you are able to craft. Like, I want a survival crafting game that you're either an engineer or come across like an engineering manual where it's like, yeah, to make a pickaxe you have to do this, and then to make another one, here's how to actually like smelt ingots, here's temperatures and stuff. It doesn't have to go into details, it doesn't have to go into the nitty-gritty, but like, give me an in-universe reason that I know how to make a refrigerator suddenly.
you just have the knowledge.
Yeah, it's like in Power World how it's like
in the Matrix.
I suddenly know how to make a musket. I know how to make a circuit board now. Where did this come from?
Hey, you're just that good.
Next thing you know, you're gonna say, I know Kung Fu, and Morpheus is gonna look at you and go, show me.
Oh, hey,
yes.
That explains every one of them. You're just in the Matrix, Alex.
That's probably true.
Every single one of them, you're just in the Matrix. That works. Perfect.
Yep.
If I ever come across one of those games, I'll let you know.
Perfect.
Where they actually tell. I think there was one that I've been meaning to pick up that called like Green Hell, and you learn how to do stuff by you have like a manual, and like if you need to like wrap your wounds or suck out poison or something, there's like a manual that tells you about it. So
perfect. You've read a book.
You've read a book. Hey, there you go. There's an in-game reason.
On the section it says, shape your world your way. Begin your adventure armed with just a handful of basic tools. So I think the full release will also, you'll have all those basic tools that I mentioned. You know, you transform your surroundings through sweat and toil, you know, from crafting powerful weapons and sturdy armor, which, by the way, you can mix and match armor in that game. So you could put up like wood or metal armor for armor points, but the creatures also drop resource materials, and you can craft stuff out of that, which increases other stats like health or speed and things like that.
This is my bear armor.
So mine was head, armor, legs, feet was... head, armor, legs was metal armor, and then everything else was like, because you can kill the slimes and get their resources. So I had like slime-based shoulder armor that I had, and gloves and boots, and the boots gave me more speed. I had a little bit of offense and defense. You do gain levels in this game, but there's not an experience bar, so you don't know how much experience you have. It'll just tell you, hey, you leveled up, and you can allocate a point into like attack or defense or intelligence. So I believe there might be some magic in this game. I've not encountered it yet.
Sure.
But then again, I don't know how much the demo gives out, like the full demo. Pace your adventure. You can play at your own rhythm, from a leisurely pace to an exhilarating rush. Isometria grants you the freedom to chart your own course with boundless possibilities available right from the start. So you don't even have to rush to endgame. You could just enjoy the game as you see fit. The game's going to have 5 distinct biomes in it, over 20 different enemy types, each with their own strategies and challenges. I don't know how the multiplayer will be for it. It'll be very interesting to see how that works.
Do you know how many players are going to be able to do for a multiplayer?
7,000.
I do not. I mean, the Steam page says online co-op and LAN co-op.
I would assume 4 then.
4, probably.
So, yeah.
Normally, they usually start with 4. I know that Stardew Valley, when they did multiplayer, they started with 4, but I think they're up to like 8 now. You can actually have in a game.
16, I think, with mods.
Oh, maybe 16. Yeah.
I think it's 16 with mods.
Oh, okay.
So I think there's mods where you can have more than what they allow, but
sure.
I think it degrades the performance. Like you have more chance of
I would imagine
that world crashing or having an issue.
Yeah.
But yeah,
usually.
I mean, I enjoy Isometria. It's fun. It's got some little kinks here and there, but it's like I said, I think it's one developer, just like Stardew Valley was. So it's
Sure.
a huge labor of love project on it. The environment is beautiful. It gives me a kind of a blend of Minecraft and Terraria.
Mhm.
If you to merge the styles of those together and stuff,
Yeah.
with their own unique twist to it. There are cave systems in this game as well. They are deadly. I died, I think, in one of them.
Sure.
As soon as I got in there, because there are big spiders in that cave, and I
Sure.
was not expecting to get hit in the face right out the gate.
Yeah.
But yeah, the world is very open. You can run around wherever you want, and it doesn't handhold. It doesn't be like, oh, you've unlocked this workbench. This is how you make whatever skills or whatever. You know,
Sure.
half the fun is learning it on your own.
Yeah. I like the like I'm looking at some screens right now, and I like that they're doing the like classic like 2.5 style of graphic design. That the old isometric design that they
that's usually when a game these days is like isometric, they do the 2.5D a lot of times.
Right. But it's
Or the faux 3D.
Right. But that is a different perspective than like what you would see in a Minecraft or a Terraria, because Terraria is more of a side scroller and
Minecraft's
in
first
3D.
person.
Yeah, first person.
Yep.
But this is a good way to present it. This kind of makes me think of like the throwbacks to like classic RPGs, but they're doing it as a survival crafting game, so that's cool.
You know what?
Mm.
I can absolutely see that.
Yeah.
I can absolutely, 'cause I'm watching my video on one of my other monitors, and I can absolutely see that now, like the old school style RPG look.
Yeah.
And I was kind of trying to figure out for myself, why this game has such a nostalgic look for me, and I couldn't quite place it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like Project Zomboid, which has that isometric view too.
It's true. But when I'm looking at the style and everything, it does kind of remind me of like the old CRPGs or like Fallout, or like since I like Spiderweb Software, like when they did Exile, or Avernum, or those kinds of games. But those were like RPGs. But they use the same kind of perspective and look for their game world as this. So they're taking that and then they're making it into like a survival crafting game, which is, I hear, very big these days. And so it's a neat idea. I'll keep track of this too, just because I like the idea of like when you have those singular developers that come up with passion projects that they want to make. With a very distinct style and idea behind it. So I think I'm going to keep an eye on this.
Plus, you're a huge fan of Stardew Valley.
Yeah, I do. This is the Stardew Valley of Pal World, right? This is Pal
But
World.
without the capturing.
You never know what the full release is going to be. That's the next thing they're going to put in.
I think I joked at them on Twitter too, like just capturing a bunch of slime, just having like a pipe, like a Mario-esque like
then
pipe,
it's Slime
and
Rancher.
The slime just pop out of it.
I love Slime Rancher. Don't despair.
I've not played it. I have a friend who played it a lot, and I used to watch her play it. One more thing I'll say about Isometria is that their crafting menu and item menu and inventory, like, you could tell, I believe it pulls inspiration from Terraria as well, because it's much the same. Whereas, like, you're using the scroll wheel, if your mouse has a scroll wheel to move, to crafting items and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You could tell it pulls inspiration and ideas from different areas and uses it and adds to it for itself.
Well, a lot of indie games are going to pull from somewhere because they've been inspired by them so much. And I can totally understand why this particular game would get inspiration from something like Terraria. Besides the perspective part, it sounds like a lot of the mechanics, like a lot of the gameplay features are similar.
There's two more games I want to talk about.
Okay.
The first one is a roguelike bullet hell.
Oh god.
I'm
scared.
I played quite a few of these. Actually, the next two ones I'm going to talk about are going to be bullet hells. But one of them, I think, was really, really unique and a lot of fun. So this game is called Necrosmith 2. And it's actually coming out soon. So the game is released, is scheduled to drop on March 26th of this year. And on their Steam page, it says, like a dead man reanimated by dark sorcery, the Necromancer Simulator is back, because it's a sequel. It gives the undead the ability to fly over the mountains and swim across the rivers, explore a fully generated world at night, and fend off enemy hordes during the day. This game is a roguelike, but it is I wouldn't even say a city, it's more like a zombie builder, you know, because you're building these creatures and you're sending them out. And you can set them up in different ways right before you summon them, so as you're building them. So if I wanted to build one and just have it have the hand icon on it, I mean, it'll randomly go off on its own and explore the map, collect things, you know, and open things up. If I give it the shield, it'll defend the tower. It'll stay by the tower, it'll defend it, and all that. So you can make a bunch and just send them off. You can keep a couple by the base, because the base does get attacked at night pretty frequently. So you want to be able to defend your tower.
Yeah.
You can summon even bigger undead creatures that are huge, like titans. And you'll have ability perks in the game as well. I don't know if it was in the video that I recorded, but when I was streaming it, the demo is actually a lot shorter than you think it is. Because the other day I wanted to play 2 games. I wanted to stream NIMRODS Guncraft Survival for 2 hours, and then I wanted to stream Necrosmith 2 for the other 2 hours.
Yeah, didn't you finish the demo
finished the
and you had to go back to
in like 30 minutes?
Yeah, and then you were like, guess I'll play more Power World.
Yeah, so I went to go play Power World after that, because it's like my tower didn't get destroyed. I guess I opened up enough of the map, or enough time had eclipsed in the game, which is like, thanks for trying the demo. So I was a little disappointed in that. I wish it would have let me keep going until my tower got destroyed, and it could have just made it increasingly harder and harder.
Yeah.
But when I played the second time on stream, I found out that I had powers and abilities, so I could meteor strike a certain area. I could summon a cat, that the only purpose of the cat was to run around and grab loot off the field. When you kill creatures in this game, they drop loot. You can control your zombies individually and have them walk over and pick up the loot themselves. Or you could summon the cat to do it for you. And the cat's out for like X amount of seconds, and then it has a cooldown, of course.
You had said this was a bullet hell, but it sounds more like a management game.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's listed as a bullet hell, but it's more of a tower defense bullet hell.
Sure, yeah. No, okay. Games are often listed as things that they are not.
Yeah. But I mean, it has a big tower. You do have to defend it.
Sure, tower defense.
Yeah. I mean, though, I guess the only bullet hell would be the creatures that shoot and defend your tower, because you are being attacked by waves of enemies.
Yeah, well, tower defense.
But I can see it's
sure.
also management as well, because you got to select which zombies you want. You can build any type of zombie you want. So there's like orc body parts, skeleton body parts, lizard body parts, and those are just the 3 different ones that I experienced in the game.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And you can craft different ones. So you could be like the head and the body of an orc, right? The arms of a lizard, and the legs of a flimsy skeleton as your creature.
Perfect.
And send it out into battle, and then figure out how it's holding up its weight on 2 bony legs.
I don't have to figure it out. Necromancy, that's out.
Yeah. So I think that's a really interesting mechanic for this game. It is on my wish list, and I more than likely am going to buy this game when it comes out. So I do want to explore more of this game. My only criticism, and I mean, it's just because it's a demo, and I try not to criticize games too much. We talked about this in depth last time in the live videos, where I try not to criticize games too much, mainly because they're demos, and I try to consider them works in progress. I feel like the zombies move a little too slow. What I mean by that is when you control them and move them. I would like if there was a way, and maybe there is a way, and I just haven't discovered yet or explored it yet, for them to move faster, either on their own or when you're specifically controlling that one. Because if I want to be like, hey, you missed this over here, I want you to go over there, you're going pretty slow. Unless I can RTS style it a bit and be like, click on them and then right click an area and then walk towards it, which I don't know if that's a thing or not. I'd actually have to play the game again to find out. But if it's not, I would like to see that to be a thing, because then you can, I guess, micromanage a little bit more the undead, basically, that you have roaming around the map for you. There are areas in the map that bring you mana. Well, the mana, or the soul essences. I forget what the exact thing is called in the game. But you use those to summon the creatures. And there's treasure on the map. There's towers that you can get to bring in resources every night. So I don't know how vast the map is. Oh, I remember how now I got the cat. So I got the cat because I unlocked it when I played the demo the first time. It's the only thing I think you can unlock.
Maybe there's a dog too.
Well, with the money you get, you unlock things inside your tower, which benefit you on your next run. And that's where the roguelike part comes in. Because when my first run, I'm looking at the video now, I didn't have the cat available to me as a summon. But in the second run, I do have the cat. Because I bought it after the first run.
Okay.
And like I said, that cat will run around the map and it'll gather loot for like 10 or 15 seconds, however long it's out.
That's kind of a classic rogue, not like, but a rogue light element where you're able to get upgrades and other elements that you're able to buy that then become common, possible pickups. So that's a good element to keep for replay
That's
value.
why I enjoy roguelites far more than typical roguelikes.
Yeah, because there's no saving.
Roguelites can get and usually roguelites can get boring after a while because you're recycling a lot of the same stuff. Even when you jump from roguelike to roguelike, the thing I liked about this one was it added a tower defense element to it.
Yeah.
You know, I've played Rogue of Ganesha for hours on end. I've played Vampire Survivors. I've played all these other different types of bullet hells, especially last year because they got really popular last year. They're still popular today. There's a crowd of people that love them. I think Necrosmith 2 is an excellent game. And I think it'll continue to be an excellent game when it comes out. I don't know if it's a one and done type of game. I don't know if they're going to release additional content or DLCs for this game or stuff over time, or if it's just, this is the full release, have fun, beat the game.
I feel like if you want to know about that, you could look at what they did for the first game, since this is a sequel.
Yeah, I'm actually going to have to go check out the first one too. See if I'll enjoy that one too. Maybe I'll pick that one up as well.
Did look interesting, but maybe not like something I would play for a long time, but who knows?
So the way I look at roguelikes like this, or bullet hells like this, is I don't want to play them for a really long time. I want to be able to maybe play an hour or two, jump in, jump out, because... And this is not a dig to anybody who makes or develops bullet hell games. There's other games I want to play too. But if I want to unwind, or maybe I want to just try something different once, I'll come home, maybe I'll play a roguelike, maybe I'll play a bullet hell for like an hour or two, and then it's like, alright, I'll go to Power World, or I'll go to New World, or I'll go back to World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
But I have these other games that I can play in between. And that really is not a knock, because game developers want you to play games, even if it's not their game. They want you to play and enjoy games. It's why they make games in the first place.
Even when, like, Nathan had gotten me Vampire Survivors, I think for Christmas, maybe?
Yeah. I wanted
Something
I wanted you to deal with my crack cocaine game.
Your addiction to
my
it.
video crack.
And I can 100% see why people enjoy it. There's that, like, casino pull of doing a run that lasts maybe 30 minutes and then being like, maybe next run will be better. It definitely, bullet hells and bullet heavens, as I think they're also more commonly referred to in that time, they're very good at that. They're very good. They figured out the formula for, let's get people in, make it difficult, give them a bunch of upgrades they can do to make the next run possibly better, and just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. The issue that I have, again, like you said, there's not a lot of variation, even with all the upgrades you can get in a bullet hell and a bullet heaven, and the roguelite elements. The amount of variation from run to run is not usually a ton. They're still fun.
And speaking of variations, the last game I want to talk about is NIMRODS, the Guncraft Survival. Because if you want to talk about variations and unique runs, you have to look no further than NIMRODS. The NIMRODS, I think, checks all of those boxes, and it was probably my favorite game to play throughout the entire Next Fest week. So, NIMRODS, a Guncraft Survival, is a shoot-'em-up gun customization type of game by 5amp as the publisher and developer. It's slated to come out sometime this year. The demo is still available. Steam tells me that it's relevant to me because I've played Realm of the Mad God Exalt and Risk of Rain 2.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a question for you super quick, Klayton, because I know you played it for a number of hours, I assume. In the settings, did you have auto aim or auto fire turned on, or were you manually doing it all?
I think in the video that I recorded, I think I might have had auto aim and auto shoot turned on. When I streamed it, I had auto aim on, but I was shooting the bullets myself.
Okay.
So, and I like that. I'm glad you brought that up because I thought that was a really interesting setting for them to have in this game, because usually you don't have that in games like this, where this one is just you could use WASD and move your character all over the map.
You could literally just Vampire Survivors the whole thing, and everything shoots at whatever for you.
Right.
Yeah. So what I really like about this game is your first run's gonna be rough, as first runs usually are.
Using a pistol,
like bullet hell survivor type games. Yeah. So you build your weapon. Each time you level up, you can add a augmentation to your firearm, whether it's the pistol, the assault rifle, the AK, whatever it is that you have. Each upgrade changes how your playstyle is going to be for that game. You could build towards more attack. You could build towards more crit. You could eventually work into getting health regen, because you're going to need it eventually. You could build into more bullets, a bigger magazine clip,
bigger bullets,
accuracy, bullet generation, rate of fire.
Different patterns of fire.
Yeah, different patterns of fire as well. XP gain, resource drop rate, things like that. After you wipe your first run, you have a drone in that game. After you wipe your first run, get as far as you can in it. Don't just get in and get out. I would encourage you to really push your first run. And the reason why is when you go into your second run, you keep your gun with you. You don't lose that gun unless you sell it. You can take that gun and give it to your drone, and then you can jump in to another run with your basic pistol, or unless you've unlocked another firearm. And then your drone levels up, and as your drone levels up, it unlocks everything that you got previously in your first run for that specific gun that the drone has.
Oh.
So
while you're building a second gun,
yeah.
So while you're leveling up and building a second gun, your drone is leveling up and rebuilding the gun you did in your first run.
Yeah. Okay, so so your drone is like one run behind you, basically.
No, yes, but no. So, the way Klayton describes it is mostly correct. You can keep the guns that you use.
Yeah.
So you do a run and you die.
Yeah.
Your death scene is like the drone that's there takes your gun off and comes back to the ship.
Okay.
You reincarnate or whatever the hell it is, they explain it, or you're a different person. The gun that you used last run is on your ship. You can sell it, or you can keep it in storage, or you can equip it to the drone that you've got.
Okay. All right.
And I believe there's, 4 spots for storage where you can put different firearms you've made.
So, yeah.
Selling them is viable, good way to make money, but also, if you say had a really good run, you made a really cool firearm that's like AoE, really fast fire rate, crit rate, give it to your drone, and that thing will just auto fire. And as he said, it will level up automatically, and it rebuilds that gun with every attachment augmentation you put on the last gun. There are parts you can get for your gun when building it that increase partner stuff. So if you have it and it says your partner gets this bonus, then I believe it would give that to your drone for the run. But if then you equip that gun on your drone, when it hits that level, you're going to get a bonus from your drone to your person. So those are viable builds as well. There is a lot of really cool stuff you can do with that, though.
Yeah, there's almost no wrong way to build your weapon. You could actually change it up too, the way he said. Like your first run, get out of the way. Your second run, there's also weapon element types. So you could have an electric weapon, or you could have a freeze weapon. I think you can also have a burn weapon too.
You can have the area. I had a gun that had napalm and a really high rate of fire.
Yeah.
And boy, it
so
just
you could
burns
build.
everything.
So you could be in a run where you want to. Maybe you want to on that run, and you can attempt it. To try and really focus on building a gun or an assault rifle or any other type of firearm that you have, and maybe try to build a frost build on it.
Sure.
Because your drone's going to get that frost build while you work on another build. Because the frost can freeze or it sometimes slows down the enemies.
Sure.
And when it gets really hectic, it's going to get really hectic. And you want to be able to have every single advantage you can to try and just squeeze out as much more as you can in that run to bring back home to your base.
Yeah.
You know? The map is very big. I didn't get to explore all the map. I did make a comment in my live stream of, I hope that they add different biomes to this game where you can drop in on a different map. Q will be going into another biome in that same map. So I ended up in a bee biome, which was instant regret because the bees are very unforgiving in that game.
Oh yeah.
When you attack their hives.
You.
Oh yeah, they swarm you and they swarm you hard.
Nice.
So I don't know how many biomes are going to be in that game, but I think it's all going to be in just one giant map, and that's cool.
I hope they have multiple maps because that would be great.
I do too. I do too. Like, I hope that maybe they do it in a way where you either you uncover the entire map or you uncover X amount percentage of a map, and maybe you either unlock a new map that way, or maybe you have to fight a unique boss to unlock another map. To me, that's something that I would enjoy, like having to explore the map and be like, oh, this is a boss I've not seen in previous runs. What happens if I kill this boss? I kill this boss, I unlocked a new map.
Yeah.
They do have points of interest as well, is what I'll call them, objective points. Certain things that you have to either hold a point while the enemies swarm at you, or perhaps you have to, I think I saw you do it when you were playing, you have to kill a certain number of enemies while you're in a points area.
Yep. Well, no, not while you're in it. They have to be in that circle and die.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
So you're basically kiting them into it.
Right. So there's a couple things like that where it's either you take and hold, or you do that, or there's these towers you can destroy that shoot at you. And I think when you get whatever they drop, it collects all of the experience orbs around you.
Yeah, the towers in there, they drop like that green sparkly stuff, which is basically your magnet.
I think the collection radius should be a little bit larger at base, because it seems very small. That being said, you do level up fairly quickly, so maybe it's not an issue. It just seems very small. The other thing is that I noticed that I think that it would do a great job to add is, in Vampire Survivors fashion, having chests drop occasionally. Or having not boss monsters, but elite monsters that are like sub-bosses that drop a chest, because that's one of those great things from Vampire Survivors where they're like, here's a chest. And you're like, whoa, a chest.
They kind of do actually have like mini bosses that show up in there, and it drops like it's different than when you level up. It drops a crate.
Yeah, those are the big bosses.
You get like
those aren't the mini bosses.
You get like one of the four abilities where, Blood of Thunder, which I picked a lot in one run.
Those are I feel like those are bigger than like elites though. Those are like actual bosses. I want like a slightly bigger than normal, but not giant boss that'll drop something.
Yeah, so I'm looking at this right now, and I'm probably going to play this demo later, since it sounds like it would be my kind of thing.
If you enjoyed Vampire Survivors, yeah, you're gonna enjoy this, Nathan. I put like 9 hours into it, and it's still just the demo.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, Vampire Survivors
my coworker put in 10
so, yeah.
on the first day that she played it after she won. Like, after she saw that video when she went home, she was like, I played it for 10 hours.
Yeah, that definitely looks like it could be. There was a game, I don't know if either of you had, probably not. There was a game that was like more of a mainstream game that was like a roguelike, and it had different variations of gunplay where you had different biomes that you went in, called Returnal. I've been meaning to play it, but it does look like it has similar elements to this, but from that was like from a third-person shooter perspective.
One of the frequent commenters on my videos plays games on their Steam Deck, and they played Guncraft Survivor NIMRODS on their Steam Deck. And they left the comments on it too about it, and I sent those comments to the dev, and they said that that's on their list of priorities of things to do for more Steam Deck optimization. So this game is also Steam Deck compatible.
That's cool.
Good.
I don't have a Steam Deck.
I don't know if the other ones are. Yeah, I don't know if the other ones that I brought up earlier are, because that wasn't brought up in my comments.
Sure.
But I assume, especially like the tactics game would be Steam Deck compatible. Some of that totally makes sense for that.
Sure. Yeah, I can see this being like a really good Steam Deck game though, almost made for it. This is a game that you could easily sink 100 hours in and never have the same run twice. Yeah.
Pretty much. I would like to see a bit more variation in the augmentations, but it is just the demo, so I assume there will be more. Plus, you can unlock more. Money. Money
and there's a
takes a
whole
while to
thing
get
that
though.
There's 2 different buy stations where you can unlock from an NPC in the game, and then unlock from like a computer console, and you unlock.
Yeah, you can unlock guns and then augments and then more augments, and I would like to see more drones and stuff. I know the shop in game for buying the different augmentations so you can find them was not complete. I don't think in the demo. Because there were options that you did not have any option for. But money, I would like to see the ability to get more of it, I think. Maybe that's a build you can try, is to get just cash drops.
Because it would be the resource drop rate.
Yeah. So I would like to ask you, Klayton, since you played it, what was your... what did you favor for a build type, is my question. Not for your drone, just for you.
One of the best guns I built was while I was streaming it, actually, and it was a electric build with the Tesla coil in it.
Ooh.
And to zap the enemies, especially when they get really close to you. It bursts like you get an AoE burst of electricity, and it basically almost one-shots everything that was swarming you. So you get a little bit more breathing room.
Yeah.
I will say though,
Sure.
I think some of the augments that you buy from the vendors, even though you could buy them in the demo, I don't think they were available in the game, because there was one that I bought which would have given me like a lifesteal type ability if I had it, if I could find it in the game and augment it to my weapon, and I never found it. And I did like 3 to 4 runs since the YouTube video that I made on it, and I've not seen it once. If it wasn't available in there, I would have rather it not have been able to be purchased.
So, out of the 5 games that you talked about, is there one that you liked more than the others? Like, if we were to rank these... NIMRODS, yeah. Okay. Perfect.
I mean, if we're going with the bullet hell area, because 2 of these games that I just talked about are in that genre,
Sure.
it's going to be NIMRODS out of those 2. But I would say if I had to rank these 5 games, it would have been NIMRODS, Isometria, Necrosmith 2, Folklands, and Sword of Convallaria.
Okay. This NIMRODS also looks like Brotato, and so I'm very happy about that. So.
Oh, and if they do happen to watch this, because I'm gonna probably tag as many of them as I can in this, NIMRODS are getting a special shout out. I believe they had the most wishlist game on Steam. I believe they posted on Twitter that they got 4,000 wish lists during the entirety of Steam Next Fest. So that was massive for them.
Yeah. Very good.
Well, considering they made a game demo that you could play as long as you can play, and it's as good as it is, yeah.
Yes.
I think that was really huge too for them to do that, and I wish I had a release date so that I can get more excited for it.
That would be great. Yeah. It's
What you mean now?
It's planned for 2024. There's a span.
I mean, out of all the games I mentioned, I think Necrosmith 2 was the only one with an actual release date.
Yeah, and it was fairly soon, right?
Yeah.
March or something? Yeah.
That is going to be a Tuesday. It's going to be a Tuesday release.
You remember Tuesday releases? Good times.
Standing outside of GameStop in a long line.
Anyway.
Midnight release.
Anyway, what were we doing?
Midnight release.
Oh, right. Yeah, Tuesday releases. Now what they typically do is they'll do a Friday release, but if you pre-order it, you get the game 3 days ahead, which is the Tuesday. I see that all the time, and I'm like, oh, great.
That's how they get you.
Yeah, so you just push the game release 3 days back so people would pre-order it to get it when they normally would on Tuesdays.
No more pre-orders.
Smart!
It's just
I don't
alive
pre-order
somehow.
anymore. Yeah, Yeah, I don't do pre-orders anymore for that very reason. I'm tired of that.
I think I pre-ordered one Steam game last year, but that was a game I really wanted to play.
The last game that I ever pre-ordered was New Vegas. And that's only because I was like, I am definitely going to play the hell out of New Vegas. And that was like 13 years ago. So no, I'm not playing that game again. But anyway, okay, good. I knew that Klayton's section was going to be the longest of our three because he has played the most. But as people are going to find out in our next segments, Alex and I also played some games for Steam.
I'll keep it shorter.